Greetings everyone, David J. Coon with Qigong Awareness. I'm out here on beautiful Wrightsville Beach in Wilmington, North Carolina. We just had some yogis over here practicing next to us, practicing yoga. We didn't get a chance to capture them. They're scooting away. I'm watching them walk away as we get into this. I've been filming some practices over here of Qigong, literally been practicing next to my yoga friends. And we've gotten this question a bunch of times. What is the difference between yoga and Qigong? That's one of the questions, okay? So first of all, yoga comes from India primarily, and Qigong comes from China. It's one of the main differences there. From there, in yoga, we have this idea of prana, this life force, riding on the breath, okay? And in Qigong, we have this idea of life force riding on the breath. They call it Qi. So that's very interesting. Right there, you should maybe think to yourself, wow, somebody figured this out in India and somebody also figured it out in China, and they're both talking about it, okay? But the practices are different. Now, I'm also going to generalize here some because there are many different styles of yoga. There are also many different styles of Qigong. In fact, there are reportedly 3,000 different styles of Qigong last I heard. I don't know how many styles there are of yoga, but I know more than several different styles. So let me give you just my general idea and my general flavor of the difference between Qigong, some of the differences between Qigong and yoga. One is that if we take a Tai Chi exercise, a movement that is similar to something you might see in Tai Chi, if we're moving around in such a way and you see a movement like this, okay, this is also a form of martial art. Okay? So when you see somebody moving slow in the park, they may not have any idea how to use that in martial art, but in certain scenarios, this becomes a martial art practice where there's clawing, there's raking, there's punching, there's throwing, there's dismantling someone's arm or wrist, okay? A lot of people don't know those applications, but a practice like Tai Chi has martial art applications. Now, with Qigong practices, you have a close relationship and an intimacy with what is also called traditional Chinese medicine. So you have these medicineless hospitals where people are healing particular things. This is like a form of medical Qigong, which is one of the primary things that I teach. So let's say, for example, someone has shoulder pain up here in their right shoulder, or let's just say they're angry, frustrated, their energy is kind of like cranky. This is like trouble in the liver, challenges in the liver. So if we bring our hands here to the liver and we just hold the liver, and we're going to take a breath in through the nose, and then we're going to exhale our breath through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now this is very good for the liver, okay? And we're going to see a difference right here in Qigong practice versus yoga practice, because primarily in yogic practice, let's take a posture like this that we also see in Qigong. Sometimes we call this like prayer pose or prayer position or something like this. Relax the shoulders and you're holding this. Where you bring your mind and your attention, you begin to bring your awareness, and that awareness begins to open up that area. So in this case, that area would be the heart. So let's take a look at this exercise here. Inhale this time through the nose and exhale through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. All right. That particular practice you can see in both yoga and you can see it in Qigong. Typically in yogic practices, they really emphasize the inhale through the nose, the exhale through the nose. Why? It calms the nervous system. This is called the parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. It calms everything down. It's very important to incorporate rest and digest exercises. Simultaneously, if you'd like to build strength in the body, yoga does it in a particular way. They drop down to particular postures, they go into particular stretches, they hold a particular asanas. I think that's how they say that, don't quote me on it. I'm not a yoga person. But they'll hold particular positions, okay, like we do in Qigong. They will primarily emphasize inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Because Qigong is very similar to and related to martial art, for example, when we do an exercise, let's say where we breathe in and we exhale. We open up our mouth, our throat, our gut, all the way down to the bottom. This gets rid of stress, tension. It opens up the esophagus all the way down to the large intestine. But guess what this is also good for? Because it is related, closely related to martial art, it is also very good for developing power and strength. So even if it's a little bit, I don't necessarily mean like powerlifting or something, but just developing some physical strength, some physical power through movement. If we think about a punch in martial art, if we were to bring our feet together and we make this a little Qigong-esque, but it's going to have a little bit of martial art, which is like a martial Qigong exercise. If I slide my foot back about 45 degrees, I go back on an angle, I'm going to turn both my feet and bring myself to a position something like this. From this position, if I bring my hands up like so. Now, if I were to just breathe in and out through my nose, I have no power, okay? But let's just say I'm going to make a motion with my hand. It doesn't matter if it's a martial arts strike or I'm hitting a baseball or whatever it is. The moment I do it, let's take our hands here. We're going to inhale through the nose. We're now going to go like this. Ha! Inhale. Ha! Ha! Ah. Just do that a few times. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Ah. As simple as I can put it in this short example, you're going to feel power in your body. You might even feel like you can kick and punch, which is going to lead you toward like a karate. You cannot do karate. You cannot do many of these kung fu and other forms of practice while only breathing in and out through your nose. You will have no physical power. Breathing in and out through your nose is excellent for relaxation. You can do that through yogic practices. But again, with Qigong, we're bringing in a different form of practice, and understand that whether you're doing Tai Chi or you're doing Medical Qigong or some other form of Qigong, it is closely related to martial art. Now, let me just look briefly, if you would, at my cheat sheet, because I had some questions from some of you and I wanted to just knock them out, make sure I covered them, okay? Is Qigong better than yoga? No. Is it better for some people than yoga? Yes. Is yoga better for some people? Yes. So try both of them, see which one works best for you. It's really about what can you do. Some yoga practices are very challenging for the average person who can barely get motion in their legs, or they're doing physical therapy or whatever. It's hard to get down on the floor and stretch and be able to get back up and so on. You don't have to do that for the most part with Qigong practices. Can Qigong and yoga be done together? Yes, they can. Do you have to do one before the other? No, not in my opinion. You could do them simultaneously. I've studied martial arts for 40 years along with Qigong practice, and even though I've never really done much yoga, we do many yoga-like practices in all of my martial arts schools. So we do Qigong practices and yogic practices, and we do martial arts practices, and at different schools we incorporate them at different times. So experiment with it, play with it, see what works for you, find a practice, and also find a teacher that works for you, something that you're going to do. People ask me all the time, what's the best style, what's the best practice? It's the one you're going to do. That's the best one, okay? And of course one that you see benefit from. Who should not do Qigong? Some people ask, is there anybody that shouldn't do Qigong? There's nobody that should not be practicing Qigong. Everybody can and everybody should be practicing Qigong. I like this saying, move it or lose it. It's kind of like if I don't use my bicep, I'm going to lose my bicep. If I don't use my ability to walk, I'm going to lose my ability to walk. If I don't work with my breath, I'm going to lose my ability to breathe correctly because I'm not working with my lung capacity. I'm not working with my blood circulation, and so on. The other question here that I have, the last one, is does Qigong actually count as an exercise? Absolutely counts as an exercise. You can lose weight doing Qigong. Check out some of my other videos on that. It's a touchy subject. Some people are like, no, you can't. You got to get on a treadmill and you know, work at 80% of your max so that you can get your 80% of your max heart rate so that you can start burning calories. That is one approach. I believe in that approach. I practice that approach. Simultaneously, there are practices you can do with Qigong to lose weight, heal your body, all kinds of other things. So take advantage of these practices, maybe incorporate them with some of your other practices or do it as a solo practice. Yes, it does count as an exercise. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.